It's funny as I listen to these other guys, we all seem to have fairly similar answers. I'm really no different. Music. My parents used to sing to me while I was still before I was born. So I've grown up my entire life with music. My mom was a professional singer when she's younger, and my dad is a jazz musician and studied music his entire life. So I was brought into it at a fairly young age. I started playing violin at 4 years old. I studied that. Classical, jazz, a bunch of different styles for a number of years, and then eventually I picked up a guitar and a set of drums, and I was sold. And around the time in high school, I'd been playing different people's musics my entire life, and I felt like I had a say, and I really wanted to put my own music out there and be able to touch people's lives in. If I can touch people's lives with the music that I write and that we collectively write half as much as the way that the bands that I grew up listening to affected me, then that would be my absolute dream. And yeah.
Music for me, as the story goes, my parents say I started really young. In fact, when I was just old enough to have dinner, I would use my utensils and start banging away. They've told me that story many times now. And then over the years I've grown up, I've played piano, then that progressed to drums, of course, and then all through school with the bands. And it's really started to taking control over my life, and it's giving me my #1 focus and my main drive in my life, and something I really want to take out to this world, see the world, play the music I like, and I mean, if I could potentially at least sustain myself from doing that, I think that would be the greatest thing ever.
Music for me, well, I probably started I think a little bit later than some of these guys, because I didn't start until the beginning of high school. I pretty much joined band and wanted to find an instrument that was probably the most exciting, which I thought was bass. And so I started playing bass in band, and started getting into like kind of punk and hardcore music. And then I went to Warped Tour and saw bands like the Early November and saw their bass player and how just entertaining he was to watch on stage. And I said I wanted to do that. And I got an opportunity to play in a band called The Concept, which was a pop punk band from Ladysmith. And I played with them for a while and really got to build up and get the experience being in a band. And then I moved to Victoria, and I seen the post from Noah and Jacob, and I just couldn't let it go, so I went and tried out, and luckily I got accepted. And for me, it's a great release of energy. If anybody knows me, I can be like a handful, and I have a lot of energy all the time, so I really like to try and let it all out on stage and be as dynamic as possible, and just have fun with it, and it's a great release for me.